Welcome back, man. It's episode 2. It's the Field Level, the football podcast of the West Coast. Y'all know how I get it going every time, man. I'm your guy, Pat. That's Quan.
Yes, sir.
That's CT. What's going on, my guys, man? How y'all doing tonight?
We feeling good, ready to go.
Feeling good, feeling great. How you doing, CT?
Solid, man. You know, got my sea moss with the honey extract, blended in there. We doing all right, man. My little guy, he take it every single day, spoonfuls, so we good.
All right, well, I brand new then. I'm gonna tell you what I got, man. I got my my Trader Joe's all organic pineapple juice. You know what I'm saying?
I thought that was Daffy Duck orange juice.
Excellent source of vitamin C. You hear what I'm talking about? So
Pat said, we ain't doing the Dole no more. We doing the Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's, man. You hear me? I'm at TJ's with it. If you want to catch me, I'm at TJ's with it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get myself back healthy, man. No more fast food for Pat, bro. No more fast food. No more soda. I'm just
You're trying to live your best life. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you what happened. Can I tell y'all what happened? Quick story.
All right,
I stepped on a scale. The scale looked at me, and I was looking at the scale, and the scale was looking at me, and then some numbers popped up. And the numbers that popped up on the scale, I really wasn't in agreement with. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, look, I don't want to see you no more. I want to see like a couple numbers down from you. Anyway, scale popped up. It said 230. I said, no. That's the time I get off work. I ain't doing that. So yeah, we're gonna try to drop that thing back down to 190, 185, 190. We'll see where we at. We see what we can get to.
Hey, you know what? I think it's time for another quote. You said last week on the pod, the best ability is availability. No,
right.
The best ability is accountability. I like that.
Ooh.
I like that. Taking account for it. Okay, Pat, I see you.
Yeah. All right, man. Drop that hot one, man. Best ability is accountability.
Yes,
hey, man. And if you can't account about that ability, don't give me an account. You hear what I'm talking about? Anyway, man, let's jump right into tonight's show. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff to get to. A lot of stuff is going on throughout the league. Off season, I told y'all before we even got to this point, the off season is my season. The off season is the most exciting part of the NFL season. The trades, the free agency, the draft, the backdoor deals, the franchise tagging, all that stuff that we normally see around this time. Guys, let's jump in. Hot topic item of the day, kind of recently just came down. Dak Prescott gets 4 years, $160 million, $42 million per. My man getting his dough. The Dallas Cowboys finally make that commitment to Dak Prescott as in regards to his future in Dallas. He's now a Cowboy locked up for 4 years. Quan, how does that pan out for you?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
I think a lot of times organizations, they do what they feel like they have to do, but I think this is one of those ones that fits right in that category because I felt like the Cowboys, they don't owe people anything, but with them putting Dak on the tag and then Dak getting hurt when he was balling, I think when he actually got hurt, he was 9 touchdowns, 4 picks.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and it was looking good, and then he hurt himself. They didn't have to pay him. They could have tagged him again or let him walk. And I felt like they gave him the 4 year, which was the big hiccup because he wanted to make sure he wasn't in a 5th year contract. I think they did that just off of loyalty. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know that for sure, but I can respect that. As far as the Cowboys though, CT, after you say your piece, I want you guys to ponder this and then we'll talk about it. This is gonna if this doesn't wind up being successful, this gives me like Atlanta Falcons vibes. All the money on the offense, nothing going on the defense. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
Go ahead,
Very
CT,
true. And wait, interesting. I want to hop in right before CT. Interestingly enough, them not franchise tagging him was quite interesting. Because we all know the franchise tag at this point was around 37 mil per. He ends up getting 42 mil per. So I get what you're saying when you say loyalty at that point, because it actually for them if he's getting 42 mil per, it would have been cheaper to franchise him, which was at a high price point, but it would have been cheaper to franchise him for another year and try to work some stuff out on the defensive side of the ball, a la what you're talking about. So that's very interesting. CT.
You know, from where we were at that point of his injury, I'm really, really happy for Dak. He's had a lot, dealt with a lot, and this was a great opportunity for him to finally cash in on, you know, what he's been doing. He's showing some consistency the last 2 years prior to the injury, you know, where he showed that he can be, you know, a top 10 quarterback, to be honest with you, skill set wise. As far as his stats, you know, he was really starting to show out. Had 5,000 the previous season and was starting off, as you guys mentioned a little earlier, you know, really well. And make no mistake about it. You and I, Pat, we've had some discussion about this. Like, we don't think Zeke is the same player. I feel like I speak for both of us on that. So with that said, who's your guy? Who's the face of the franchise? Who's represented the franchise to the best of his ability? And we can all agree that Zeke ain't always done the best at that. So, you know, this is a, you know, we're sorry for what we did, and here, let's take care of you type of thing. He's making, I think, 66 mil or 65 mil signing bonus, which is like an all-time high. 66, it is 66.
Soon as he went like this.
Right. I mean, that's huge, man. And I'm happy for him. And you know, I've never been a Cowboys guy. I never will be. But I definitely respect him as a quarterback. I love his leadership. You know, a lot of people try to compare him as a middle tier, like a Kirk Cousins, and I think that's borderline disrespectful just because his leadership intangibles, I think, warrant a little bit more respect. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is a bad quarterback at all, but I don't think that Dak is less than him at all. So just to give you a little bit of comparison, but, you know, I think it was a good move for the Cowboys, but they also need to solidify some other spots.
Now, you know, I gotta come in. You know, I got to. You know, it's itching.
Here
I'm itching.
Go.
I'm itching. You know what I'm about. You know what I'm about, man. When we talk about these quarterbacks, right? We're talking about the production that they're putting out. Shout out to Quan, production over projection.
Yes, sir.
When we talk about these production that they're putting out, it does borderline, and I understand what you're saying, CT, but it does borderline on disrespectful when we talk, you know, a la Kirk Cousins. Like, why is it that when we talk about a quarterback and when we start to kind of put him in ranking, it never fails that the ranking name that always comes up is Kirk Cousins. Like, it never fails. Every time.
I heard every time. That's why.
But, you know, but I was going to go head on and get into the numbers and talk about how Kirk Cousins is thrown for almost 5,000 in multiple years and multiple touchdowns and all that type of crazy stuff. But I think, you know, it's a situation though where I want to, and I, you know, Quan, I haven't forgot about what you said, but also kind of want to bring this piece to the table. This being the first re-signing domino to fall. Right, you had the Matthew Stafford trade domino. We still got some other dominoes that are, you know, out there that we don't really know what's going to happen. Do we now start to see certain things begin to roll as it pertains to these quarterbacks? I understand that, you know, free agency hits, you know, start the talking time starts March 15th. Signing day is March 17th when we start officially signing guys, but we can, you know, get those deals bordered, you know, on March 15th. Is this a situation where we start to see this thing kind of start to fall in place a lot faster now? Told you guys last week, I feel like Deshaun Watson's not going nowhere. My personal opinion. I feel like he's not going nowhere. But you got guys out there. Alex Smith has now been released. Cam Newton is out, you know, out there in free agency. You know, you got Russell Wilson. They're talking about trading him. You know what I mean? You got, you know, who knows what's going on with the Drew Breeses of the world and stuff like that. Is this the first piece to kind of hit? Now we're going to feel like we're going to start to see, because now this is big, right? Because this now affects the draft, you know, with Dak Prescott being signed up by the Cowboys, because who would have known? I saw some mocks out there that had Zach Wilson going to the Cowboys, right? I saw some mocks out there that had a lot of those different quarterbacks maybe potentially touching down in Dallas. So what happens now is, are we now going to start to see all the, for lack of a better term, bull jive? I'm gonna use my Shannon Sharp. My bull jive start to kind of dissipate and fall out, and now we're going to see some real moves start to fall into place?
You know what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I don't think Dak. To me, I don't think Dak signing moved the needle so much per the other quarterbacks in free agency. Maybe the draft per se, but not in free agency. I think the only I think all the backups you kind of just named, like Alex Smith is not going to move no needle. Neither is Cam Newton. I think
I seen something where Cam might be the starter in Washington. Reunite with Riverboat.
Now, I was led to believe that Cam Newton and Ron might not be as buddy as we once thought. But then again, I remember it was the GM, I think, that wanted Cam out of there. It wasn't necessarily Ron.
And Ron wanted Cam.
Yeah.
And Ron got let go first. So that could happen. But I don't want to be disrespectful, but is Taylor Heineke better than Cam Newton right now?
Ooh, you are disrespectful.
I said it right now, though.
Look, off of 2 games? Off of 2 games? Off of 2, wait. After 2 games.
Hold on, listen. The fact that you didn't say yes or no, and the fact that CT just stared at me.
I couldn't even say it because it was so crazy. Heineke has played 2 games.
Is he better than Cam right now, though?
You been drinking some Heineken?
Off of 2 games?
Yes, you're still not answering the question. So that's going to be
production over projection. Are you saying his production in 2 games?
You know what? His Cam Newton's production over 16 games was being benched twice and putting up.
All right, well let's do this. Since you want to do that with Heineke, let's take Cam's first 2 games and compare it to Heineke's 2 games.
We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. That's because that was like 10, 12 years ago. We ain't doing that.
No, I'm saying his first 2 games last season.
Right.
Oh, last season. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Hey, I threw the question out there. I just threw it out there.
You should have kept it. You should have pump faked.
Okay. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't think it moves the needle like that. I think that getting signed was just something that was Dallas's problem. I don't think it was a league problem. I think it was Dallas's problem. Because if Dak would have hit the open market, then we'd be talking. But I think this was mainly just Dallas's problem, and they got it fixed. So I don't know what else goes from there. But Dak's the Cowboy, like you said, next 4 years.
Any more content on that, CT? You want to touch that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I think it was consensus that they were going to sign him back at some point. We didn't know how deep it was going to drag into. I didn't see him hitting the open market. But even if he did, I still felt that he was going to end up in Dallas. Jerry was going to have to do it. Are you going to go with Andy Dalton? Are you really going to draft a rookie? Like, you have Dak. You can make this work if you really, really wanted to. You need somebody to solidify that locker room. If you remember, as soon as he got hurt, the dysfunction started coming out. They started talking about how they were complaining about the practices and all that. And, you get your quarterback back, that cleans up a lot of that mess. You get the leader of your locker room, that cleans up a whole lot of that mess. Somebody that would hold Zeke accountable, somebody that would hold him.
CT, I hear you on that, bro. What gets me though, and this is just I want to ask you this question because I genuinely want to know. I hear you talk a lot about the leadership that Dak possessed. Where does that talk come from? Because it's not publicized. We don't hear about Dak being a leader and him being, the guy that rallies the troops and everybody rallies around Dak and he pulls the guys in and gets them right and gets them set. Where does that thought process for you come from about Dak being this kind of leader?
Well, as you know, we analyze the game. So you look at the pro level and you look at the collegiate level. And I watched him quite often actually at Mississippi State, right?
Mm-hmm. You can't say what you said. Then be like Mississippi State, right? You can't say that and then be like Mississippi State, right?
It's not that I didn't watch him play. Maybe I just had the wrong team, but I was right anyway. So that validates my point. Anyway,
I appreciate you for that, man. That was good. Mississippi State, right?
But honestly, His leadership was there under Dan Mullins. He led that team and willed them to wins that they probably wouldn't have got with any other quarterback at that particular time. And then coming into the league, he had to step in for aging and a battered Tony Romo and take over the franchise. And it wasn't easy. They had Zeke, so it was like just manage the situation. And then there were some questions about whether or not he could win pivotal games, important games. And, he struggled in some of those situations. But, I've said this before, there were times where that wasn't all his fault. I think Jason Garrett is a very conservative coach and didn't allow him to blossom offensively with his game and develop him that way. And no disrespect to Garrett, but think about his pedigree. No disrespect. He was on a winning team, but he wasn't playing. So it's a different mindset. I'm not saying that's the only reason why things happen, but at the same time, I felt like had he got a different coach, maybe you see something else. The first few games, it looked like he was going to blossom into an offensive powerhouse of weapon, based on what he was doing. And I've seen this team come together around him in ways that I haven't seen with everybody. I think that he has a quality. Is you ever watch him talk to the media? Like, he says the right things. He's doing the right things in the community from what I research and understand. His poise and his presence with his team, he's comfortable. He knows that this is his team. I felt it this season. I felt it last season as well. And I say the last 2 seasons, so it's not like you have a large sample size, but a year and a half or so, if you will, he's definitely shown it in my eyes.
Okay, I respect that. I was curious. Go ahead.
Silent but deadly. Like those are the kind of leaders I think I like for the team that like the Cowboys that's in the news for every single thing. And I think it's kind of like good that he flies in the radar being a leader. He's not a media attention. He's not a media attention grabber. Like, he don't need the headline. I think those silent but deadly leaders are honestly the better leaders to have because they don't need to be in the camera to get the job done.
And Mississippi State, right?
It was
man.
State.
Okay.
Man,
all right.
You got to retire that. But hey, if you remember in the Ravens glory days, Ray Lewis got all the pub, but Ed Reed was just as big. You know what I'm saying? Leading that team. So I like that.
No doubt. Another little quick piece of news as we're doing our news dump here right now. The Tennessee Titans have now traded away first-round pick, left tackle Isaiah Wilson, to where do you get traded to?
The Dolphins.
He went to the Miami Dolphins.
Miami Dolphins for a 7th-round pick. This is interesting because for me personally, this has to be personal. This has to be an in-house issue that's a personal thing happen. There has to be a character situation. There has to be somebody's not getting along with somebody hating on somebody, because I cannot fathom you draft a guy in the first round last year and you trade him away this year for a 7th-round pick. I'm going to say this one more time so we can really understand this. You draft a guy in the first round, not even a full year ago. We have not even made a calendar year. A rookie then who goes through a COVID season, right? No rookie mini camp, no OTAs, straight training camp, straight season, right? And you trade him away for a 7th-round pick. That is not a talent issue. That has to be something deeper that happened in that organization. It has to be. That's just because it's the only way it makes sense. Because the same way that Miami was talking about moving on from Tua, you don't draft a guy and move on from him in less than a year. Come on, like y'all gotta feel me on that.
100%. 100%. In Tua's case, I think this is a case of a franchise breaking a quarterback. I think they broke. I'm not saying Tua will never bounce back because Tua is strong like that, but I think they broke Tua in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I think they broke everything about the confidence, spirit, all of that. Now, this lineman, Trey Turner, I agree 100%. It got to be character issue, but I think it started as a talent issue, and I don't know this for certain, but when you're drafted first round, you're projected to start. Am I lying? Am I right? In most cases, unless you're like Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith was there, like you're gonna say it or something like that. But usually, you drafted first and second rounders are like projected to start or pushed to start. So this could have been a situation of it could have started as because reporting came out he wasn't given the starting job. He wasn't starting in the beginning. So who knows? It could have started from there. We've all coached football when you got a stud who's used to being the man, and then he not the man or he not getting his way, he might act out a little bit. So it could have started from there, and then it just boiled over into a bunch of character issues and team conduct things. And then when all this free agency trade stuff started going around, started being talked about, he got on his Twitter and went Twitter fingers and was over here typing, "I'm done in Tennessee. Get me out of here. I'm tired of it, blah, 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 blah." And then he deleted it. Like, he kind of signed his own papers to get out of here. Now, the problem for him is just because you got traded for a seventh. So that also tells you what the Dolphins think of you as well. So, I hope he gets his attitude together, because a team doesn't draft you in the first round to be cut, like you said, Pat, to be traded 1 year later. And not only that, this also is let's go ahead and throw some blame towards the Titans as well, because their scouting department didn't do their homework. You just wasted a pick. You wasted the pick. You could have used that pick for some more help for Ryan Tannehill with weapons, or that defense, that their defensive line got no pressure at all. You could have did that. So they get blamed too.
CT.
So a couple of notes here. Vrabel and Flores both come from the Patriots. So that's a friend helping a friend. Number two, the Titans or somebody in the organization made a statement and basically said that this isn't the player that we drafted. We expected so much more from him. He had a different energy. And then, through this whole COVID process and, all the protocols they went through, he became somebody that they didn't know. That's basically what I heard as far as the Tennessee Titans stance on him. And this was right after he tweeted, "I don't want to be at Tennessee anymore. I want to, move forward and do something different." It does speak to Miami taking advantage of the situation, looking for some depth there, looking for potential starters, some upside. But it's also kind of scary that they wanted to get rid of such a large investment so quickly. What does that mean for this cat's mental health and what he's able to do in this league? Maybe some cats just ain't built for it mentally. It's a lot to ask, especially during these times of COVID. You didn't have OTAs, you didn't have rookie minicamp, none of that stuff. So I understand that, it wasn't a normal situation for anybody. At the same time, there is a level of professionalism. There is an expectation. There are veterans on that team that, should be willing to assist in order to get to where they need to get to. Because, I'm sure Derrick Henry needed, a tackle of his stature, of his height coming in as a first round pick to block for him and put him in a good spot. So it's a little disappointing, but hopefully it's a diamond in the rough for Miami, to take advantage of it. Typically, this doesn't work out too well in these situations in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some, I'm trying to think of somebody right now. It's not clicking. But that's probably why, because there's really no stories where this works out. I hope it does for him. He's a young talent. He was graded that way for a reason, and hopefully mentally he's prepared to own up to his draft stock.
No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. So it's an interesting story. It's interesting to see what's going to happen there. But like I say, Isaiah Wilson moving on from the Tennessee Titans to the Miami Dolphins, former first round pick of the Titans, now in Miami for a 7th round pick. All right, man, let's get to the meat and potatoes of tonight's episode. One thing that we want to do is that weekly we're going to go ahead on, we're going to break down some conferences. So now, we're going to jump right in. We're going to do an offseason outlook of the NFC West. Very interesting division, known pretty much across the board in the NFL potentially as the best division in football, right? You talk about the NFC West, you're talking about potential of 3 playoff teams, making it, and then you have, you got your Arizona's or your San Francisco's interchangeable there. But I want to talk about this. Seattle Seahawks, let's deal with those guys for a quick second. Not only are they continuing to field calls for Russell Wilson. Today, they released Carlos Dunlap. Very interesting move, especially when you have a defensive line that wasn't crazy last year, and you release a guy like Carlos Dunlap. But Seattle has a lot of gaping holes. That offensive line, dare I say, one of the worst in football.
You remember our conversation last? Go ahead, though. Go ahead, man.
Dare I say, one of the worst offensive lines in football. Then you have, situations with the running back position. Chris Carson, are they going to re-sign him? Are they going to bring him back? What's going to happen there? We don't know, right? Tyler Lockett, how much tread is left on that tire as far as a full go guy? Who's the real third up there? Is it going to be David Moore? Is it going to be somebody else? Is it going to be whatever cuz name?
Freddie Swain.
Q on a roll with these Hawks, baby. Go Hawks.
Seattle has a lot of gaping issues. Quan, since you're right there with it, for you, what is the need Seattle has coming in? How do you feel about what's going on with Carlos Dunlap? And not only what's the need or how you feel about that situation, what can they lean on going forward to get and stay right where they've been for the last 10 years?
Well, they're going to have to lean on the defense. So they're going to have to kind of, like you said, plug those holes and get that defense back to the caliber that we once knew with the Legion of Boom and through that whole stretch. I feel like they have some pieces in the defense that are some mainstays. We know about Wagner and KJ Wright, who they need to take care of as well. But we know about those two guys in the middle. We know about Jamal Adams and what he brings. We know he's not the coverage safety that he might not be everybody's cup of tea, but we can't knock that he's a playmaker at the end of the day. So he's back there. They need to do something with Shaquille Griffin. I think they need to probably franchise tag Griffin because I think he's good enough to be your number one corner, but he hasn't shown it consistently. And last year he was hurt with the injury bug. So I think if you
CT, how much longer do they got to tag him?
Oh, till tonight, right?
This week, maybe.
All right, y'all go. Keep talking. I'm about to research it.
Okay, yeah, do that. I think his fifth year's up because he was a first round pick. So, you know what? Maybe they're in a situation where they get to pick up the option. I'm not too sure, but I will tell you this: Carlos Dunlap is going to be back. Carlos Dunlap, remember they traded for him, so they picked up that big contract from Cincinnati, and they cut him. I think just for that, I think they cut him. He was getting he was about to make like 14 point something $1 million. If they could cut him, bring him back for like a strong maybe like 8 or 9, I think that'll be great. Carlos Dunlap
franchise tag ends tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow at 4.
Okay.
Pacific.
Yeah, so maybe they need to look at that. But I think Carlos Dunlap will be back. He will have a market if he hits free agency, but he wasn't getting a lot of trade offers either. So I think he's kind of content with like, okay, if I go back to Seattle at a reduced total salary, but maybe pick up some more in the guarantees, they can structure the contract differently. I think that was a typical like we need to get you off the books and get that Cincinnati contract ripped up, and then we can redo it our way. That'll fit better for us and still get you paid. So I think he'll be back. And then man, I think they just need to fix that defense because I feel like the way you feel about Watson is the way I feel about Russell. I don't think Russell's going anywhere, but I don't know, man. We're gonna have to wait and see. Get your popcorn ready.
CT, same question to you, brother. A gaping need. How you feel about Dunlap, and what can they lean on going forward?
Well, the first thing they need to solidify everything with Russell, take care of him, and get that, that olive branch extended to make sure everything is done well. I think, Pat, you sent it to us. Dunlap, that was definitely a cap casualty, free up some money. Yannick Ndukwe, something like that, was a possibility there. I hate that.
From Jacksonville?
Yeah. Well, he went to Baltimore in a trade.
Baltimore, yeah.
But, he's
the Vikings.
A premier pass rusher. Yeah. Premier pass rusher. That would be an opportunity for them to upgrade in that position. Carlos Dunlap's a little older. And like we said, they need to solidify, who are going to be their guys at the receiver position. I think Lockett has some more juice, maybe 3 more years, and he'll be kind of that 2-3 tweener. DK, obviously is your guy. Do you have, Freddie Swain? Who's the other guy? They got another guy who's decent.
David
Moore.
David Moore. You know what I mean? Like you add maybe one more guy there to see what you really have. And there's a pretty deep class receiver wise where they'd be able to grab somebody and make some noise there. They need to figure out what they want to do in the running back position. I think they should start fresh. I wouldn't overpay. Maybe draft somebody and really develop them. But like Juan said, I do agree. They're gonna figure out the secondary. That's going to be the key to their formula. That's what Pete Carroll knows best. He's going to go back to what's worked for him for so many years. Solidify that secondary, with Adams as the leader, Shaquille most likely coming back, and figuring out what they're going to do with that. Is DJ Reed their second corner? He played well mid-season, a little into late, showed some poise there. Now he's going to have a full off season potentially. Is that the guy? And you can get him for a cheaper, bargain essentially. And then obviously they need to figure out what they're going to do with their linebacking core. You got to figure out what are you going to do to support Bobby Wagner. Brooks is there, right? Jordan Brooks is that his name?
He played well. He played well in times. Yeah.
KJ, I think that his speed is the problem, to be honest with you, but he's still a solid linebacker for the most part. Still will start in a lot of different situations, but I think that they need to look for an upgrade. Maybe that's Hassan Reddick or somebody like that, just that has a little bit more speed and is on the brink of being, what he was projected to be, being a first-round pick. So, yeah, it's an interesting situation in Seattle, but starts with Russ and then it works its way to the secondary.
No doubt about it. I'm in agreement with you guys on a lot of these different subjects. I think for me, the gaping hole that they got to try to fix is that offensive line. Especially you got Upati retiring, who, wasn't the greatest, but he was a starter, on that offensive line. He was definitely in a decline in his career. However, he was a starter on there. That offensive line is in shambles. They got to figure that out fast. I think they got to, with them, they might want to go look at like a Trent Brown or somebody, just trying to bring a guy in who does have the ability to play, at least to play. So that's the biggest gaping hole for me. With Dunlap, I don't know. I mean, I hear what Quan is talking about. I felt like if that was what they wanted to do, they could have just sat down at the table and restructured that contract, and tried to figure it out that way. But with them releasing them, it kind of makes me feel like they're just going to cut ties completely and move on and figure something else out. It's a team where this is a. We say this every year, but this year more than any other. This offseason is going to mean a lot for Seattle to see what they're going to be moving forward. I mean, Pete Carroll will be 70 years old this year. Who knows how much longer he's going to be, coaching at that helm. I don't know. Maybe he want to go to 80. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You got Russell, who's his future is uncertain. You're uncertain in the backfield. You also are in a division where the tight end play comes into factor. Who is the tight end? We don't know. There's a lot of different things that I feel like Seattle needs to address. Once again, I like what you said about KJ Wright, definitely taking some steps back. A la, Bo on his way out kind of deal. You know what I mean? So I know it hurt. I heard when I said it, but I mean, I said it. So, Bobby Wagner also, Bobby Wagner, he's not the same. I mean, he's a very good player, but I think a lot of times, and we talk about this year, Bobby Wagner, as great as he is, his name rang more bells than his play. Let's just call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true, but that's when I think what CT said about Brooks. Brooks is more likely to take KJ Wright's spot and him be traded than he is to take Wagner.
For sure. Jordan Brooks, I mean, he was a beast coming out of Texas Tech. You know what I'm saying? So he has a lot of good intangibles. But then you also look back in that secondary. Once again, DJ Reed, was that an anomaly? Because he wasn't like that on the Niners. Was that an anomaly, or is that him actually getting a new scenery, and now it all clicked? Something like that can happen. But also, like you said, you know, with the franchise tag deadline being tomorrow at 4, what's going to happen with Shaq Griffin? Shaq Griffin hits the market. I don't think Shaq Griffin comes back. You know what I mean? He I believe in what Quan said. I feel like, you know, Shaq is a 1 and potentially could get paid as a 1, you know, around the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knows? So there is some big holes in Seattle. And we just don't know. We'll know a lot sooner than later as it pertains to what they do in free agency, what they do during the trade, you know, in this trade time, even coming into the draft. We'll know more, but, you know, jury's out. We don't know what's going on yet.
I do
Los
got a
Angeles
question
Rams.
for you.
Go ahead.
You mentioned Ngakoue. Is he still considered an elite pass rusher? Because in my opinion, you can't be traded from Jacksonville to Minnesota and then Minnesota to Baltimore all in 1 year.
That was all in 1 year.
He was on Baltimore too. He was in Baltimore too.
3 teams in 1 year.
Really? Bro, you can't be elite no more. You're not elite no more. You all right. You solid. You ain't
You're decent. So that's that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the real statement right there. Also, Los Angeles Rams. Let's keep the train moving. Let's keep it moving. Los Angeles. All right, we'll get Goff out of there. Goff's gone. You know what I mean? Goff now is cold in Detroit. He on 8 Mile trying to figure out what's happening. You know what I'm saying? They bring in Matt Stafford. All right, cool. Bring in Matt Stafford. You have your running back of the future in Cam Akers. I think we all can agree on that. Cam Akers is going to be the running back in Los Angeles for the next 4 to 5 years at least. Right? You have, you know, Higbee is still there. Everett is there. So you have that two-way tight end that kind of makes to be a great 1 by the 2. All right. Defensive line, no issues. All coming back. Great players, right? Linebackers, super trash. They got to figure that out. That is the one glaring hole for me. The Los Angeles Rams have to figure out that linebacking core, because what's happening is that when you have a great defensive line, you have a great back end, but when the middle of that field cannot be solidified, that's where the Rams lost a lot of games last year. That's where the Rams, not a lot of games, so they didn't lose that much, but the majority of the games that they lost last year, especially on defense, I can point it back to the middle of the field where that linebacker play was not up there, was not up to par, especially in the run defense and their run fits. However, also what's kind of interesting, like I mentioned a moment ago, is that the Rams are now talking about getting Robert Woods off the books. Wow. Can we say wow? Which makes sense to me, though. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why it makes sense. Listen to me. Robert Woods will be what, 30 this year? Somewhere around there, probably like 30, because I want to say he's like two years ahead of Miles, and Miles will be 27. So he's like 29, 30, right? Bang. Then you also have Cooper Kupp. Then you also have Van Jefferson. Then you also have Josh Reynolds. That wide receiver room in LA is crowded. And if I could shave a little bit off, because I got to pay a little bit out, if I could shave some off, get Robert Woods out of here, let's say for what? A third? Robert Woods for sure can go for a third. Or what? He ain't going for a first.
A third?
What else?
You got to respect that man more, bro.
Come on, man.
Robert Woods is the best receiver to come out of SC in how long, bro?
I don't care where he came out of.
Look, man. He's a versatile weapon.
Nah,
he
man.
Can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He runs great routes. Has great hands.
So what y'all giving up? Hold on, no. I don't want you to riddle it down for me. What you giving up?
At least a second.
A 2.
I agree that he's not a first, but a second for sure.
If I needed him, I'd go get him a 2. If it was that serious.
I don't know why you rolling your eyes, because a 2 is right next to 3.
What did D-Hop go for?
A 1? No, a 2, right? Different scenario, though. Different scenario.
So Robert was going for a 2?
Production, bro.
2 different situations, bro. That was a character. He didn't get along with the coach, the GM, all that.
Exactly.
That's a different situation.
I'll go ahead on and talk, because I'm about to look some stuff up.
Okay, while you do that, I
3 is a bargain for a player of that caliber.
No, it's not.
What?
Bro, the way that offense is set up, you ain't really able to see what he can do. To be honest with
And
you,
he
Cup takes a lot of catches away. Higbee takes a lot of catches. You know, they give Reynolds a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's nice, bro.
You know, I'm gonna say this. I don't think Reynolds and Van Jefferson have done enough to warrant me getting rid of Robert Woods, thinking, oh well, they'll step up.
But
I don't know.
Drafted Van though.
Huh?
You drafted Van, so you may have to.
But you drafted Van in the what? Van was a second round pick, right?
Nah, he was third. Yeah.
Okay, so perfect. I'm not married to him. He a third. He not getting no. He not getting no super.
1 year. Don't start with that, man. 1 year, and you're not married to him.
That's married.
Huh?
That's engaged.
No, you're not.
Something.
No, you're not. So hold on. Let me get
third
this
is still high.
It is high. It is high.
Oh, now it's still high.
But did Van show you anything in his rookie season that'll warrant you getting rid of a proven player since he's been on the Rams and just say, you know what, he'll step up? Did he show you enough?
I wasn't at practice. I don't know.
A high too. How about that?
See now, hold on, hold on. Now we're gonna bring some family into this. When our family was on the Rams, you feel me? Didn't we all think he could have been the third?
Facts.
So then, why do we think now that these other dudes deserve to be a 2 if our family could have been a third?
Just because of the depth and the situation of what they have. I mean, they have to be smart financially with all they paid out to their cornerbacks, to the quarterback, you know, and such. So they do need to be smart about their business moves going forward. And they've been known to spend big. And don't forget Aaron Donald's contract. You know what I mean?
So pretty much what we're saying is we don't think that Van Jefferson and Josh Reynolds are really a number 2 or could replace Robert Woods. We're just saying we got to get Robert Woods off the books because we got too much money out of everywhere else.
More so, but think about it. Remember when Brandon Cooks was their number 1 and they traded him off? No problem. It's one of those situations. Like if you have to make that decision and you've drafted over the last few years different receivers, then you're going to plug them up and hope that they can, you know, step into that role.
And, hope? Oh, we're going off hope. That's what I'm saying. If Reynolds and Jefferson would have showed me something, then it'd be different. I'm not going off of hope. If anything, what they should do to free up some money then is let Gerald Everett hit free agency because you got Tyler Higbee already. And let Gerald Everett go to the Seahawks.
You an undercover Seahawks fan sometimes, bro. Little things you be saying.
But I'm just saying, though, don't that make sense? Because Pat mentioned tight end division is the NFC West. Seattle ain't got one, so you can get some money off the books.
Tight ends, though, bro. You ain't even got to say Seattle first off the bat.
Okay, my bad. But I think that makes the most sense. I don't think Reynolds and what's brother name Jefferson have shown enough to where, you know what, I hope that they can replace Robert Woods' production, which was been great every year he's been there, and then cut Everett, get him off the books, and then Pat, to answer your other point about the linebacking core, I agree they're not good. There's a couple of linebackers in free agency that I'm thinking of. Maybe Denzel Perryman can go over there, and you know,
Alexander, he rehabs.
That's right.
Buffalo, he's a free agent too. He'll probably sign back, but he's an option. Matt
Milano, yep.
Yeah.
All right, so just a quick point of reference, real quick. When T.O. was traded for a second.
Different time.
All right, Antonio Brown was traded for a third.
He was a troublemaker, man. Was he not?
All right, go ahead. I'm done.
I'm just saying, was he? I'm asking.
I understand where you're going with that. You're saying that Robert Woods is not the caliber of either player, and you are absolutely 100% correct. Am I overvaluing him slightly based on the numbers that you said? Absolutely, I am. No doubt.
D-Hop was traded for a fourth.
We are valuing his production, not what we think of him. Because if that's the case,
Antonio Brown, D-Hop, all considered problems with that particular coach or organization at that particular time. They will get rid of you a lot easier due to that. Robert Woods is a stand-up guy from all we know, so it's a different story.
Pat, value Robert Woods' production. What's his numbers? Can you look at his stats every year he's been on the Rams?
Great stats. Great stats. I can take that off the back. Great stats.
What we talking
about? However, his stats and Cooper's stats are extremely comparable. And
Which is why
who's
you
to
keep
say?
both.
But I'm saying, who's to say that if Rob left, Cooper's stats wouldn't jump up even more?
To what? 200 catches?
Or
Stop.
maybe he's double covered now and is the featured guy and gets less. What happened to Juju?
I don't think he would get double.
That's what happened to Juju, right?
Well, you got to double somebody.
Well, that's not what happened to Juju. Don't you ever say that again. That's not what happened to Juju.
That is what happened to Juju.
That is not what happened to Juju. Juju wasn't getting double covered all year. Are y'all crazy?
He wasn't. No, CT was – no, I know what CT was talking about.
No, CT was talking about Juju was getting doubled. That's why when Antonio Brown left, Juju started getting doubled, and that's why his production failed. That's what CT was talking about.
The first year he was getting doubled, not this past season.
Right.
I quit the show.
Hey man, Robert Woods 401, baby. Robert Woods 401, baby. Let's do it.
Shock value. Man, that's it, man. Look, so you got that. Niners aren't doing nothing right now. With the number, they haven't even franchise tagged anybody. That's interesting. With the number of free agents the 49ers have this year, basically the whole team is a free agent.
Really?
It seems like it. I mean, how many free agents do the Niners have? Like, how many free agents? Well, basically, with the whole team basically being free agents this year, for them not to have, done much this year as far as, re-signing guys, I'll tell you right now, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anyway, I'm up past 30 at this point. I'm up past 30 guys. So I'm at about 40 free agents that the Niners have this year. And they haven't restructured one deal, haven't signed one guy. Outside of, I will give them, they did re-sign Marcel Harris. They did re-sign what's my guy name? Jeff Wilson. Who was the other guy that just got and Ross Dwelle. So they did re-sign 2.
And River Craycraft. Washington State, right?
Sure. But is this a mistake by the 49ers letting this many guys hit the free agency market?
I'm going to let CT go first on this one. Our resident Niners can duke it out.
You try to hold out hope that there's a master plan that you're going to like. This is a unique situation for a team that, was a year removed from the Super Bowl, had a bad year, injury riddled. I think they are reevaluating what they need to do right now and who they need to bring in. There's going to be some drastic roster changes this season. They collected a little bit more money than they expected going into free agency, which is nice. However, there is a sense that it's going to be even more challenging to bring in some of the players that we would need to re-sign. The Trent Williams of the world came out that Jason Verrett is most likely going to test free agency, will not re-sign prior to the start of free agency, which is also a concern, right? Is Juice going to get a contract? I don't know. You can go on and on. Is Kendrick Bourne getting a contract? There's so many guys that contributed to the 49ers in so many different ways and made impacts in so many different ways that you're not sure are going to be back. So what does that mean for the culture? What does that mean, for Kyle and John as they move forward? This is a division. I'm not even going to say a league, a division that has made some significant moves. A lot of Rams, Arizona. What are the Niners going to do? And that's what's a little bit, on the scary side, the uncertain part.
Without a doubt. Quan, jump in. Raider.
You had to throw that in there, huh? You know what? Before I talk about the Niners, I forgot to mention this, Pat. I think you mentioned LaMarcus Joyner. I can see him making the Rams reunion. That's where he came from. And I think the Raiders used him wrong by putting him in the slot. put him back at safety since the Rams are probably going to lose Johnson back there. So I think that could be a good play. Anyway, Niners, man, Kendrick Bourne, I said this last time, and he's going to be the first one I bring up because y'all know I like Kendrick Bourne. I like his swag. I like the energy he plays with. I think he needs to be re-signed. I don't think you guys have another wide receiving core where nobody's proven past the two. Past Debo and Ayuk showed a lot his rookie season. After that, nobody else has done nothing. Richie James is so inconsistent. He's a good returner, but he's so inconsistent on offense. Kendrick Bourne, for all that he doesn't bring, he's consistent somewhat, especially in the red zone. He's not, bro. Must we have
go ahead, man.
Must we have this conversation again? So I think he needs to be re-signed, but Juice looks like the perfect Patriot if y'all don't re-sign him.
Yo, chill out.
I'm calling the hot seat. He looks like the perfect
All right,
Patriot.
so this is what it is. Kendrick Bourne, great player, consistently average. That for me, I'm not mad at that. If honestly, I feel like there is a strong chance, in my personal opinion, I always have to preface it by saying this. There's a strong chance Kendrick Bourne is in the Niner next year.
I agree with that. You're right.
The reason I say that is this, is that the 49ers know what they have in that building, right? I hate to kind of keep saying this year after year, but you have the kid that you drafted this past year out of Tennessee, who they're very high on, who they think can be a great player. You still have, Jalen Hurd, who hasn't got out there and played this year or any year, at that point.
Right.
Because those are facts, I do believe that the Niners are going to probably lean toward the upside of those young guys and try to figure out if they can get the most out of them. Because remember, those contracts, you paying what, $600,000 for the Wait, let me finish. Don't cut me off. Because you know what? I'm trying to learn you right now. I'm trying to learn you. The reason being is this. This is where I say it. CT, you mentioned it earlier. They re-signed River Craycraft, right? They signed Kevin White and all those other guys to futures contracts, right? So you're bringing back already on this roster. You're already bringing back 9 wide receivers. 9 of them bad boys. You got is Richie James a free agent? I can't remember. He's not. I don't think Richie's a free agent yet.
Doesn't matter.
But I'm just saying. So look, you already watch this. You're bringing back Richie James. You're bringing back, Brandon Ayuk. You're bringing back Debo, right? Those guys all played. You're also bringing back River Craycraft. You're also bringing back Kevin White. You're also bringing back a Travis Benjamin that didn't play last year but still is on the roster. You're bringing back a Jalen Hurd. You're bringing back is it Johnson from Tennessee? Is that his last name? I forget. Yeah. But that's right now. That's 8. That's already 8 guys. And I think there's one more guy that was on the practice squad that you're bringing back as well. So that's 9 wide receivers already. Are you going to sign Kendrick Bourne for 10, or are you going to let Kendrick Bourne walk and see if I can get the production that I need out of a guy? Watch this. You're dealing with Kyle Shanahan, who likes to not use guys at one particular position. Kendrick Bourne is only a wide receiver. Period, point blank. He's not going to take an end around. He's not going to take a shovel. He's not. That's not his skill set, and that's okay. But the issue is all those other guys, Craycraft is a returner. That's a skill set. All those other guys, the Travis Benjamins, the Richie James, the Jalen Hurd, who could also play running back or kind of get down into the H-back position. Same with the other guy from Tennessee. Those other guys have the ability to be used in multifaceted ways in the 49er offense, and that leans more towards what Kyle Shanahan wants to do in that offense. Therefore, thusly, keeping those guys on for $600,000, $700,000, rather than having to bring KB back and pay him $4 million at least.
$4 million at least, right? At least.
Yeah. $4 million to $600,000. Tell me the difference between that.
That we need in other places.
Yeah, is that 3.4 million difference?
I would rather play somebody $4 million when I know I'm gonna get
It's not a necessity though, Quan.
Juan, that's
Okay,
the best way to put it. First year, this hasn't been a necessity in a long time.
Right.
Okay, but look, hopefully Kyle Shanahan gets it right. Because what I'm hearing is in this whole episode we've been doing is a bunch of hope. I hope that Craig Kraft can use some returnability because I didn't see him return nothing last year. I hope Kevin White can do. I hope Kevin White can do something. I hope the guy from Baylor can be healthy at least more than preseason if we even have preseason. I hope the other dude from Tennessee can get off the practice squad. Like we're doing a bunch of hopes. So
can I ask you a question though?
So
can I ask you a question?
Kyle Shanahan, down on your sword. I hope it works because y'all.
Can I ask you a question, Quan? Seriously.
Go ahead.
If the Niners, let's say hypothetically, if the Niners go into next season with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, gotta say his name, and George Kittle, and let's say Richie James out there to start the game, is that terrible?
No, it's not terrible. I'm not saying it's terrible.
Right. Okay. Saying, bang. But if I can take that 5 million, watch this, bro. Let me just
go ahead.
If I could take that 5 million, if I could take that 5 million, I was gonna give KB and add that to a Trent Williams or a Kyle Juszczyk's contract to make it sweeter.
I got to do it.
It's a no-brainer.
Hey, do what you got to do. If it was me, I can look on my roster and find somewhere else where I can shave $4 or $5 million off because I'm sure there's somebody else on that roster who's getting paid some good money because of hopes and dreams. But hey, it is what it is.
CT, going back to you, and we'll wrap this segment up tonight. Because we talked about Arizona in depth last week with the JJ Watt situation.
Right.
For you, going into this offseason as a 49er fan, what is the necessity? We cannot come out of this offseason not have addressed what?
Offensive line and corner situation. DBs. We need a strong safety if Tart isn't coming back. And we also need another cornerback, a youthful cornerback. You could move E-Man potentially to the slot if K1 is not someone we're going to sign back. So you do have some options there. The other fella that got hurt, the tore his ACL, he was pretty decent in the slot when he played a little bit. So maybe you were able to get some depth there. But yeah, those are the two prominent spots I think that we need to address if we don't make any major moves out of the quarterback situation.
Hey, hold on. I got a question.
Yeah.
Your starting nickel is K1 Webster, K1, right? K1 Williams?
No. He's a free agent.
He was though, right?
Yes.
So now it's Jamar Taylor, right?
Jamar Taylor,
yes.
I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah, although Dante Johnson played well at the end of the year at the slot.
Okay, and your safeties are still Tart and Ward, right?
No, Ward. It's just Ward. And then I think what they're going to do with that other safety position is potentially Tarvarius Moore or Marcel Harris.
Okay, yep. I thought. Never mind. I take my question back. I don't have one because I was about to say, well, you can shave some money off of Tart.
Oh no, Tart a free agent, brother. Tart is. Okay, I want to say I agree with you, CT. However, I feel like, right now the 49ers don't have any corners. Like, very literal. Like, K1 free agent, Jason Verrett free agent, Richard Sherman free agent, Emmanuel Sanders free agent, Akello Witherspoon free agent. Literally the only corners that we have on our squad, I want to say, is Jamar Taylor and Tim Harris. Yep. So that is definitely a spot that they got to kind of, look at. I would not be surprised if you saw a JV potentially get tagged tomorrow. If they can't figure something out, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a JV get tagged tomorrow. Because I feel like the 49ers have to use a tag just because it doesn't hit your cap like that. So it'd be interesting to see what the 49ers end up doing. I want to see them do something. It seems like we kind of go through this every year, and then right around the end of free agency, we see like an influx of signings, a la the Kyle Juszczyk year, a la the D Ford and Kawhi year. Even though neither one are with the team or will be with the team, I feel like in this next upcoming season. But that's where money can be cut. Since you're asking about money being cut, release
That's
D
what I'm
Ford.
saying. Cut D Ford and resign. But never mind. Hey, is there anybody on the Niners that has any trade value?
Yeah, I guess
that you're willing to let go. That because I know y'all don't want to let go of Fred Warner.
Potentially Armstead.
Probably.
Armstead, you might be able to get like a third or a fourth, maybe.
Armstead probably number one.
Because I can see you guys. Okay, whatever. Because my thought was because you guys are right. Who?
But why would you deplete that offensive line even more? Lincoln Tomlinson. What was he? Lincoln Tomlinson last year was a top 5 guard in the league, right?
Yeah, that's why I said that.
Yeah.
I was thinking on the line along the lines of you guys don't have any corners. Well, AJ Bouye is a free agent. He might be somebody who could come in and step right in and start if that's what you guys want to go with that. He's not horrible. I think he was just injured.
You know who does have trade value? A little bit, I'm sure. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, but I was gonna say a splash one. Maybe y'all can put a package together for Marshawn Lattimore. Take him away from the Saints.
Oh man, ain't nobody got no money for that.
I mean,
nobody got nobody for that.
Hey, you can trade George Kittle. The Saints don't got Jared Cook no more.
Boy, I almost just ended this whole live, bro. The moment you said that.
I'm just saying. I'm just talking. I'm just talking.
Is it time?
What time?
Oh no, all cap. I'm over here capping CT.
Man, full of cap already. Hey, anything else you boys want to get to tonight before we wrap up tonight, man?
I just want to say, make sure you guys follow us on all our social media platforms. We definitely, we had a little hiatus. We took our 2 week. Well, we also took a hiatus from social media. We got things going on, but we back. We was live on that Gram, live on that Twitter, and make sure you watch us on YouTube because these next couple of weeks and next month, it's gonna be a lot of capping going on.
It's about to go down. And get ready. That live show is coming back, man. But make sure, like Quan said, make sure you like, subscribe, share the page, tell somebody about the YouTube page. Also, follow us on Instagram at The Field Level. Follow us on Twitter at The Field Level 1. Make sure that you're following those social media sites. That way, because like I always say, engage. Talk to us. We talk back. Engage with us. We talk back. It's a known fact. So make sure that you're doing that. CT, any final words tonight, brother?
Man, just excited for season 2. I think we have an opportunity to be a little bit more interactive. Me and the fellas been talking about, several ideas of how we can have more dialogue with you guys. Obviously, end of season 1, we started having people on and discussing what's going on. And there's other platforms for us to take advantage of to do that as well. So just looking forward to really, continuing to build the Field Level family as we move forward. And, enjoy this offseason because it's our season, as Pat said. So looking forward to that, fellas.
Big facts, no cap, all day, every day, man. It's the Field Level, the football podcast of the West Coast.
Perfect timing.
This is Pat Quan and CT Quan, dog dying in the background. But y'all be out of here, man. Be blessed. Stay non-stressed, all right?